Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. Believe it or not, this is my current gravel vacuum. It used to be clear, and it actually used to be a lot longer. But as time has gone by, it has gotten yellowed and brittle with age, and it has broken several times. So it's kind of time to replace it. Now, normally what I do with my videos is I do a build first, showing you complicated stuff, and then move on to something that you can do more quickly and easily without any specialty tools. I'm going to reverse that this time, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to put together a gravel vacuum. Just by going down to your hardware store, picking up some 1.5-inch piping, a coupling, a bushing to bring it down to 1/2 inch, and with a nipple fitting on it, stick a hose on there, and you have a gravel vacuum. Yeah, I need to use a slightly longer pipe, obviously, but I only had this short one, so that's all I used for this. But that's all you need, or you can use this one, which is a threaded fitting. Now, I know most of you want to have a clear parts of the piping for it. You can actually get clear ABS and clear PVC in those fittings. You just have to go down and ask them to cut you a piece. You may have to go to a specialty plastic shop for that, but it's very easy to come by. And then one of the last videos I did, I showed you a very simple way of using 4-inch piping like this to make a very simple DIY box filter. And you can do the exact same thing and make yourself a gravel vacuum. Now, the thing is here, the larger diameter ones are actually quite useful for something that I'm going to show you a little later on. But the only reason I'm doing this, and this is a 3/4-inch one, I'm trying to illustrate that pretty much you can go down to a hardware store, pick up any kind of piping and the bushings and whatnot, and some flexible hose, and you can put together any number of different sizes of gravel vacuums and just mix and match and come up with something that you like. And it's very straightforward, very easy to do, and you don't need any tools or anything. Now, if you have access to a drill, you can even do a simpler one here. Remember I did a 1-inch hole there. So if you put a 1-inch hole into that piece instead, I won't drill it because I got to use that filter for something. I just didn't want to make another one. So what I'm going to do here is just show you a simple way of doing it. Just ignore the other 4 holes, pretend they're not there. And all you need to do is put on a bulkhead fitting like this. I'm not going to tighten everything down, but it's very easy to just add a fitting across that hole, add a couple of small fittings to that, and connect them together. You can glue it or not bother gluing, you just use friction fit like this, and then just glue that on there, and all of a sudden you have another way of doing it. Anyway, the only reason for showing you all this is just trying to illustrate there is no real limit to making a gravel vacuum, and it's very straightforward. And just go ahead and make one and try it out. You'll be thoroughly pleased with it. And then, of course, doing the things that I like to do, I'm going to make someone a little more complicated. So this is Delrin. I've cut a piece off that large piece. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to machine it down, and I'm going to make a connecting fitting that's going to take that piece of piping and allow me to adapt it to fit a hose onto it. Now, the only reason why I'm showing you this, it has been a while since I have shown you me machining plastic. But what I wanted to do here is illustrate one kind of something that happened during this that was kind of interesting that I thought maybe you'd be interested in. First off, Delrin's a very easy machine. I think I've already told you that before. You can take off rather large amounts. All I'm doing right here now is just facing both sides, and then I'm going to start whittling down the diameter so that it's the right size. But in the next clip, I'm getting down to pretty much where it's going to be. It's just slightly oversized. And here we are here, and now this is a piece of the same pipe I'm going to use it. This is going to fit inside, but it is way too, it looks like it's way too large to fit on there. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just trim this down 3/1000ths of an inch. That's all I'm doing. I'm just taking off 3/1000ths of an inch. You can just see as this goes by here. See that thin hairline at the top. That's all I'm doing, just take that little piece off. But, as you're going to see shortly, not fitting on and being a loose fit is a really very tiny amount of material removed. So here it goes on, fits on, it's fine. It actually will work like this, but I wanted a little bit more of a friction fit. But the nice thing is, all I need to do now, I didn't want to waste this piece of Delrin, so I've just moved it out a little bit, and I'm going to make a much tighter fitting just for the last little bit. And that way I'll end up with, like I don't have to throw the piece out. So, but this is the kind of a cool part here. You can take off a rather thick amount of plastic in one pass. This is not the full final depth because I don't like doing that. You end up, if you take off too much at once, you can warm the plastic up, and then when it cools down, obviously it's going to be a slightly different size. But that is about a 1/4 inch I took off there in one pass. This is going to give me a bit of a lip. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring it down to size. The final diameter for this end piece is going to be 1.5 thousandths of an inch thicker than the piece that's to the right of it, and that is the perfect amount for it to be friction fit. Just so, like, I took off 1.5 thousandths too much off the other one, and that made it that loose. So that was the only reason for me to leave this part on. I just wanted to show it to you. It was just kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys are going to find any of that kind of stuff interesting, but I thought I'd leave it in there. But there you go. It's nice and snug now. And all I need to do is drill a hole through here. This is a slightly under 1 inch. That's the same as I do for all the others. I hog out most of the material, and then I pass through 1 inch to give a nice smooth final fitting for it. Not really necessary in this build, but I want it. It's just my standard practice for that. So there you go. I finally have the bushing here, and you'll notice that it doesn't have a nipple fitting on it. What I could have done is just reverse it and turn that down to the proper size, but I may want to use different sized hoses on this, so I made a connector. I'm not going to show you that because I probably already bored you enough showing you one bit of machining here. But this is the end product. Sorry it's slightly out of focus. I realized that after I started doing this, but I didn't want to cut that part out. And there you go. It's done and ready to connect. It's very straightforward. All I need to do now is decide what length of pipe I want to cut. What I'll do probably is make at least two. One for smaller, shorter tanks, and I have some really long, hard-to-reach ones, and I'll make one much longer for that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the using of this. It's going to be in my shop to start off with. Of course, I don't have any gravel in any of my tanks, but I wanted to show you how it sucks up. Now, this is a Pleco tank. Anyone who's kept bristle noses knows they poop a lot. So what I'm going to do here is just get rid of some of the mulm that gathers in the bottom. I also keep an awful lot of ram's horn snails you see here, and just watch what happens to the ram's horns. They all get sucked up, and they all end up in the bucket. And if you remember at the beginning, I said there is a larger diameter gravel vacs that I might like to make sometimes. And this is actually the reason I like the larger ones for this sort of thing. What I'm going to do here is I'll just, as the ram's horns start climbing out the bucket, I'll just pull them out and put them back in the tank. But you can do it this way instead with a larger diameter. And all you do is you get it going, suck the mulm up, and then let the ram's horn snails fall back to the bottom. It's very straightforward and simple that way. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry I showed you a lot of machining, and and part of it was just to show you how how small of a difference it is you can get when you're trying to get a friction fit. If you like this style of video, please like and/or subscribe. And what I'm going to do here at the end is, this is one of my display tanks I have for a client. If you remember from way back for the DIY leak-proof canister filter, this is one of those, and it's years old now. And I just wanted to show you a gravel vacuum for it. this is obviously the thinner one. I'm not going to show you too much of it, but I just wanted to see it working with, show you how it works with gravel. And anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And bye for now.